The Solo Leveling anime is an incredible adaptation, emphasis on adaptation. It's a textbook example of the phrase doing the manga justice, the manhwa in this case. It's a good anime. I don't think that's a hot take at this point. It has blown me away for 6 weeks in a row. Not necessarily from a visual point of view, although the show does look great, but rather from an adaptation point of view. In the past, I've talked about good anime adaptations and bad ones. But what makes an adaptation good? Should it be a strict one-to-one recreation of the source material, or should it run away from the source and do its own thing? The correct answer, of course, lies in the middle of those two extremes. Solo Leveling is a brilliant adaptation. That'll probably be the title. It is faithful to the source, and at the same time, it's not a dull one-to-one recreation. Join me as I break this show down from an adaptation point of view. Make sure to subscribe. There are two main factors that make this show great. The all-around production, which includes the visuals, the music, and the voice acting, and the script writing / narrative additions. These two factors collectively allow the anime to outdo the source material. Here's a provocative statement. I think anime, as a medium, is inherently better than manga. It's just that an average manga is closer to the artist's vision compared to an average anime. More often than not, anime is subject to some extreme corner cutting, but every once in a while, an anime is able to go that extra mile and utilize its medium well. Solo Leveling is one such project. I have talked about the visuals before, but to sum it up, Solo Leveling is not a full sakuga show. It has its fair share of strong animation, but it also features plenty of static scenes and is somewhat limited. And that's perfectly fine. Not every show will be a Chainsaw Man, aka an industry-wide passion project. If your expectations are that high, you will be disappointed. Of course, the complete lack of good action animation in an action show would be hard to stomach, but that's not the case with Solo Leveling. There are plenty of highlights, a lot more than the industry average. The newest episode, for example, featured tons of strong animation with complex staging, well-executed camera work and solid storyboards. It looked great, static scenes and all. Don't expect every cut of action to move. That's not how anime works. Of course, some fights are more important than others. This fight, for example, needs to look better than this one, and I would be disappointed if it doesn't, but the action animation has lived up to my expectations so far. A good soundtrack goes a long way. Hiroyuki Sawano is on music production duties, and as always, he's doing an incredible job. Some people seem to think his work is generic. If you are one of those people, shut the fuck up. He practically created his own style of music. His work perfectly complements the show, regardless of the mood. I can't lie, I got chills when Sawano's dark aria started to play here. It added so much to this scene. Of course, we have to talk about the voice acting as well. Taito Ban voiced Sungjinwoo, and he did an exceptional job. Some people think the more a VA screams, the better the performance is, but it's more than that. The emotion needs to be conveyed. Why is the character screaming? Is he scared? Is he angry? Is he sad? Or is it a combination of multiple emotions? The voice actor needs to nail that subtlety, and that's exactly what Ban does. He is obviously going that extra mile. While recording his part for episode 4, he coughed up blood, or they just stabbed him in the studio. You decide. Again, exceptional work. Of course, props to the directors for bringing all of these components together. Going back to what I said about anime being inherently superior to manga, when all of these aspects click, the final product surpasses a medium limited to panels and text. When the animation is animationing, the music is musicking, and the voice acting is voice acting-ing, magic is made. Manga, or manhwa in this case, simply cannot keep up. No disrespect to the source material, but it just can't. These were the more obvious and easy to notice aspects of the adaptation, and according to Twitter, these are the only ones that matter, but that's not true. There is a more subtle side to this anime. The team added small things here and there which made the show more compelling. These additions are present throughout the series and improve the various aspects. Action is an obvious one. The manhwa is known for its art. The way it handles the fights is unreal, and the anime holds its own for the most part. It uses its medium to its advantage and makes the fights more enjoyable and more sensible. For example, the clever camera work and the utilization of the environment in episode 4. In the manhwa, Sung kept swinging his weapon at the snake. The underwater tracks, the train, the pillars Sung went through, and the sword getting stuck on the snake's back are all anime-only additions. They essentially restructured the entire fight and took advantage of the medium. This sequence from episode 2 was heavily expanded upon as well. Sung gets butchered for a lot longer in the anime, which made the scene feel a lot more visceral and made us root for Sung. The show also manages to tell a story through the visuals. The wolf jumps from one side to another before pouncing in an attempt to confuse its prey, for example. It just makes sense. Sung's fight against these goblins is another example of this visual storytelling. They took the time to animate this slow sequence, which shows both Sung's inexperience as a fighter and his improved abilities. There's also the fact that this particular fight was entirely anime original. He never fought these goblins in the manhwa. Sung keeping up with the goblins serves as a visual confirmation of his abilities, as he had struggled against one of them a few episodes back. These things might seem insignificant, but in the long run, they add a lot to a show. This adaptation also excels at expanding upon the world itself. The manhwa is very linear as far as the narrative goes. It follows Sung and no one else, which is fine. It's like a video game where your character keeps leveling up. Nothing wrong with that approach, but the anime decided to explore other characters as well as the overall world. The anime focuses on characters like Juhi, highlighting her trauma, which is relevant because our protagonist went through the same thing. Anime-only additions are a good thing. I, for one, appreciate Juhi's anime original hospital visit and Sung's anime original flashback. The anime also focuses on the world. It highlights how normalized gates are and how organized the hunter society is. It makes the world feel lived in. In fact, they opened up with a scene featuring a certain island filled with ants. If you know, you know. The manhwa, on the other hand, opened up with Sung. The team knows what they are doing. They could have recreated the cool looking panels and called it a day, but they decided to go that extra mile, and I'm glad they did. I'm more invested in the anime. I don't remember caring all that much about the first few chapters. The restricted but strong visuals, the incredible music, the intense voice acting, the masterful direction and the anime-only additions make for an amazing viewing experience, both for an anime-only fan and a manhwa reader like myself. I'm excited to see how the team expands upon and improves the remaining chapters. That's about it. Liked the video? Check out this other bit of content on screen. Like and subscribe, and until next time.